Sister, do you have anything else to say about what you did this week or?
Especially if you
Raise out.
entered it into your logbook.
Okay.
I want to hear
Okay.
about
Uh, Actually, I did the same thing this week. I
Thank
kept
you.
a diary of day by day so I would remember what I did. And on Monday, the last day of March, well, we had the rosary together as a group here at the Commons and praying for the whole world and the church, especially, and all of the country, our beloved country. And Tuesday is when I had my MRI test at noontime, and they had the results of it on my chart that very day. In the afternoon, I found it on my chart that it was there's a lot to it, but the summary of it was that no acute intracranial abnormality. So thanks be to God, and thanks for all your prayers. And then there's a whole list of things that describe it, but I won't go through all those. The last thing is something about with my age, 100 years, there are ischemic changes, which everybody has. The more you get older, I get. And she ordered several medications. The doctor ordered the several medications. And so that's what on Tuesday. Wednesday, I had my hairdo in the morning and my exercise class at 1:30. And in the evening, I was busy calling my certain people about the results of my MRI that I knew. Thursday, I spent most of my day praying and reading. And today, Friday, I continued it's the first Friday of the month with my devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I still keep my first Friday of the month. I use my iPad because we didn't have mass. I had mass, rosary, Stations of the Cross, all those things. I had plenty of time to pray today, which I thank God. And I felt pretty good. I don't have to share all my aches and pains. Everybody has their aches and pains, but I thank God for my results of the test, and I'll keep on plugging along one day at a time. Is all I can do, and thank
Have
God
you
every day.
have you heard from Mimi anytime recently? We haven't heard about her for over a year. Mimi Swenson Schaefer, your classmate.
Yes, she keeps in touch with me, and I respond. Right now, my correspondence is way behind because
Okay,
I haven't been feeling well for quite a while.
yeah.
It's been since about before Christmas when I got that terrible cold, and it just hangs on and on and on. This cough keeps coming back.
Cindy, did you get any kind of response to your birthday greeting to Mimi through Dana? Because I never did get a response to mine.
No.
Did anybody ever get back to you?
I think the last thing I did for you, Chuck, was I sent you her last letter for me. I sent you the whole thing because you asked me how she was, and I said that's the last thing I heard was I sent the whole thing to you.
Oh, okay. All right. You sent it to me through the mail, is what you're saying, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's my correspondence, Chuck. I'm not. I'm
Okay.
fashioned. I'm old
All right.
fashioned.
All right. Cindy, do you want to say anything about your activities this week?
Yeah, I talked to Connie and she had her cataract surgery yesterday and it went well. So that's good news. And I had told you before that I have a niece, Yola, that's Rick's sister's child who's like my age, and she was having problems with her kidney, like going into failure, so she'd have dialysis. But she took a turn for the worse this week because she couldn't keep any food down, and she has a pacemaker. I had mentioned she's had like a lot of heart problems over the years. So, sister, if you'll keep Yola, in your prayers, I don't know if they'll put in another pacemaker for her, but she's having trouble with the dialysis. So, but I'm hanging
Viola,
in there. I'm doing well. And Linda, what is new in your world?
Well, not a whole lot. We had spring break this week, so we kind of did a couple day trips. We had the one today, and then on Tuesday there's a like an arboretum about an hour north of here. It's called Holden Arboretum. Unfortunately, it was a little bit early because flowers aren't going to be blooming for a while, at least this far north. But but the gardens are starting to get them ready for spring, and we were able to walk around. It was a little cold, but it was still nice to get out. So, no school this week, just kind of taking it easy, a couple little day trips. We went our oldest daughter, they're actually over in London this week with spring break, but for my birthday they had got me an early a birthday gift, so a couple tickets to go to the symphony. So Andy and I, after church last week, we have a social hour once a month, and so we had mass and then a social hour, and then like the EJ Thomas, it's like a block away from our church, and so we were able to spend last Saturday evening at the symphony as well. So that was nice. It's been a nice, relaxing week, and it's just nice to have off school for a few days. So it's all good. Everything is going good. So,
Good
but
birthday month. Good start to your birthday month.
thank you. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Oh, can I go back to one of your earlier comments, Linda? You said if they could pick a date for Easter, it would be April 4th.
Yeah,
Is that,
I read that somewhere, and if I can find that, I'll share the link with you. I just remember, and it hasn't been all that long ago, but I don't know if it's like religious historians, but they've done like some research, and I don't know exactly how they've come to that date, because I always thought, no, don't, because then my birthday would never fall on Easter again. But it is a movable holiday, and obviously it did occur at one point in time. So however I found that, it just seemed, because we've always agreed December 25th was the day of Jesus' birth, although we don't really know that for sure. And I've seen some things with that may or may not be accurate. But with Easter, I have read that basically if they could pinpoint it to a certain day, it would come down to April 4th. Again, I don't remember exactly where I read that.
I'd
And
actually be in favor of that because it's too hard to, well, I guess this day and age, all you have to do is Google it to figure out when Easter is. But
right.
it must
Yeah.
have been very hard in days gone by to plan your Easter activities if you didn't know what day Easter was.
Yeah, because I think it can actually be over. I want to say it's like a 5 week period, and I think it does. I think it comes down to the lunar cycle. I thought because
Yeah,
I know it can be as early as I don't know if it's like March 23rd. I think it can go as late as April 25th because years ago
yeah,
I had a friend whose birthday was April 25th, and as infrequently as my birthday falls on Easter, hers was even more infrequent.
yeah,
So, but I always remember that because that was her birthday date. But it
yeah,
literally, you have like 4 or 5 weeks in there, so it can, it's over quite a period of time.
yeah. I'm
But
surprised that they haven't picked a date.
yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, because I kind of got the impression when I was reading this article that could change. But I don't remember where I seen it. I know it was somewhere online, but I'll see if I can find it. And if it seems reputable enough, I'll share it with everybody. So, but
Sure.
I always thought that was really interesting because, like I said, when I was a kid, my very first birthday was on Easter. Of course, I don't remember. I was only a year old. And I was always so anxious when I was younger. I can't wait till I have a birthday on Easter and I can actually remember it. And it finally, like I said, I think it was when I was 60 or early 60s. I was like, even at my age, I was really excited because I just always thought, oh, that's so, yeah, it just seemed like very, very special. And then it's like, no, if you have it on April 4th, I'll never be able to. But again, it did fall on a certain date. And if
Okay.
they could find this particular date, it would be probably more significance if it didn't constantly move around. So
And it's interesting to hear Cindy talk about her little chicks.
I know that's awesome. Yeah. I think
Nowadays,
Andy,
nowadays, that would not be, that would be frowned on, right? Because it would be abuse for, because do the chicks live very long?
I think it probably depends on when you give them to little kids, if they're treating them gently enough, as long as, and certainly that they wouldn't mean to, but you just want to make sure that they're well taken care of.
You know, we had hamsters. I don't think hamsters is that unusual as a pet. But
Right.
honestly, I don't remember the hamsters living very, very long.
They don't. We've had four, and I think on average, the average hamster I think is 18 to 24 months. We had one I think only lived like 9 months. It didn't, and I think the longest might have been 18. I don't think we ever even got quite 2 years, but yeah, you just
Do you want to explain your background picture, Cindy?
That's just the Red Hatters.
yeah, that's awesome. That's a
It
cute picture.
happens. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Do you meet together, Cindy? Because I've heard about the group, but do you get together and have like events or?
Yeah, we do. I have another one with a Red Hatters, but I don't have the picture handy. So we're going to go up to Frankenmuth. I'll tell you about that after we go.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I have a second cousin and I met him after his mom had passed away. She was quite a bit older. I think she was in her but anyway, she was a member of the Red Hatters and that was the first I'd ever heard of it. And there's a really cute picture of her. I think she has maybe the red hat and the purple dress similar to the one woman in the back of your picture. It's a really cute picture. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're nice. So
Yeah,
anyway,
they
if we
look
go to
friendly.
lunch, it's fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I think it's time to go to bed. Right?
Well, it's
Well,
good
I'm
to
glad we
see
got
everyone.
together and I'm glad the sister is doing so well and I'm glad
Yes,
you're taking care of yourself. And I'm glad to see you, Linda, and
thank
thank
you.
Andy again for joining us.
Of course, yeah, it's always good to see everyone. And, Chuck, keep us updated, Cindy and sister, you as well. But it's always good to see all of you and love you all and hope you all have a good week.
Love you too.
Good night, everybody. Good night, sister.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, everybody. God bless you. I love you.
Love
Good
you
night.
too. Good night. Love you, sister.